got a special guest here too, guys. He was abandoned as a baby by both his parents. Then he became a banker. Then he went 5 million rand into debt. If that was, and you thought your life was hard, eh? You thought you had a tough life. And if that was not bad enough, then he bought multiple properties around South Africa with over 200 families and 300 tenants. So if his life wasn't difficult enough, he went into some more stress. You would have thought he would have had enough by that point, right? Not TJ. What buildings he's still buying, and this was old, right? 2019 Investor of the Year for the big leagues, and he put it all in this book.
That's it.
And you see it. Am I putting it in front of the camera? Correct. From bad debt to property mogul in 2 years. He says, I bought many of my properties starting with less than $100. He says, if I can do it, anyone can. So that's what we got him on here. He needs to tell us, can anyone do it? Can anyone do what he's done in 2 years? Very inspiring man, one of the bravest, smartest guys I know. And so he's going to share his journey. He's going to share his story. We had him on. I had the biblical principles of finance, which we had him on. But there we were talking about how he grew up, his childhood, his Christian walk with God. Today we want to talk about business, and we're going to talk about property. Is that okay, TJ?
No, that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. We can shoot into it. I think for me, there's lots of value. This is, one of my hunger of just showing people that what we do is there's no super magic around it. There's no muti to it. And there's no praying and fasting alone. There is no any secret sources that anyone cannot replicate. I'm always saying that the only place where it's not allowed to do is in school. Copying in school is not allowed.
Yeah.
Right? But the moment you get out of school, copying is cool. It's the coolest thing that you can ever do in your life. You can literally go and sit with Leroy and copy what he does, and you take it into a different place and you make it a success.
Exactly. And you can copy it exactly to the point. You can say which estate agent did you use, which attorney did you use, which builder did you use, which funding company who did you speak to there? What was the mistakes you made? You can literally copy it exactly. You'll have your own challenges, but that's what you can do in property.
Oh yeah, awesome. So that, and I think for me that's what life is all about. I'm a big fan of Nando's. How many Nando's do we know that are uniform? Right. Some of us we are KFC. How many KFCs do we know that are uniform? How many Mr. Price? How many? I mean, I can go on, right? And the thing is that those people, what they've just done is they've created a recipe, and they're mastering that recipe, and out of it they replicate it into different places. I'm already doing it right now. That's why I've got a business in Cape Town. That's why I've got a business in Joburg. That's why I've got a business now in Poch. Boom! I've moved into Poch, brother.
Poch.
Yeah.
And we thought no one would ever go to Poch. TJ went there.
and it's got that north thing, ne? Poch.
I think Poch. Yeah, once or twice, but the university's there, so I guess you can. I heard yesterday you're doing about over 100 beds there. But I think before we get into the four cities, the properties, I don't know how many you have now. Let's get into the start, my brother, because I think most people, you know what I find with most people don't know where to start, or they don't start. Because we do these seminars, right? We talk to, let's say we talk to 20 people, okay? Yeah. We talk to 20 people. Let's say on average, 2 of them, 10%, get started. They say, okay, let me learn. 10% get started. Out of those two, one or none of them will really follow through on that. So tell us how you got started. And you started with R100, eh? Or your book it says $100.
That's about 1,000. That's about 1,000 rand. You know,
1,000 rand.
Yeah. So I'm just going to be straight blank to the point here, bro. The reality, our reality is that whatever you're hungry for, you can get it. That's the bottom line of it. So whatever you're hungry for, you can get it. And for me, by the time I met you in the Rosebank Hotel, I can't remember the name, the first time around when I came in on my own and you were doing the seminar, I was already fired up already at that time. I was looking for something. I knew that being employed was not everything that I wanted to do. So I knew there was other stuff that I can do. I'd gone into business. I'd done car rentals. I'd made a success out of it. I'd gone into chickens, and at that time I was failing in my chickens. So I knew that there could be other things there that you can do, but I just didn't know what, and I just didn't know how. So I suppose for me, the secret really is the fact that I was hungry, and I knew that I was hungry. And all I needed to have at that particular time is one or two people who can give me direction, who nudge me into the right direction. And that's what happened. And so when I came in there, if you are hungry, you can smell Nando's from a mile away.
Yeah. Because
you're hungry. But if you're full, someone is going to be like, there's someone frying. Even if it's onions, bruh, you'll be like, no, there's no one who's frying. Because you're not hungry.
Yeah.
So if you are hungry, and I think for me, that's the starting point. Find your desire. Find your passion. For me, I found my passion. And I think a lot of people mistake me for property, actually. I'm not a property guy. I'm not. You know, so for some of you, it's coming as a surprise. But I'm actually not a property guy. I'm a money guy. That's my desire. That's my passion.
Yeah.
Right. Property is the vehicle to money.
That's true.
Yes. Right. And it took me a bit of time to figure that out, but I figured it out.
So TJ says he's a money guy. And I think that's what sometimes people say, I want to get into property, but I don't think everyone wants to. It's what property can do for you. I want to get into stocks and shares or business. I want to get into, sometimes I don't think it's always, like you said, it's not always about, but what that can do for you.
So for me, Leroy, the thing is not about property. But here's the thing, right? I understand what property can give me. So I am coming from a family where I have no backup assets. I have no father. My wife's family, my wife is colored. So there's nothing of backup. Right. So, I mean, for some people that don't know why I say that my wife is colored, so there's no backup. Look at the history around our communities of being colored.
Yeah.
So, we're starting from where we are. And I understand the fact that where we're starting off from is actually minors because we have no backup. So I need to find a backup. And what is my backup? I understand that property gives you backup.
Just to stop you there with fathers and stuff. Last year, actually, my father also passed away, I think about 15 years ago or something. And last year was a tough year. It wasn't an easy year. And I was actually hoping to say, yes, so you know what, can I not have just a rich father? Just to come in, or just someone to go to and just say, hey, man, listen, I need a couple of $100 here. Can you not just you get it back when in the next few months or whatever. So it was interesting when you say that.
Buffering you, yeah.
Yeah. So no, but carry on. I was just thinking. Last year I was wishing I had a father to.
Yeah.
Go back on it. That would be nice, eh?
And it's not about money alone, Leroy. I think people, especially people that do have fathers, underestimate the value of what a father can bring onto the table, because it's about the conversations. It's about the nurturing of nudging you into the right direction because they have done it. And for me, I see that I have found fathers in my church communities. So I've identified Mr. So and so, he does ABC. So I lean to him for that. And Mr. So and so I see is like that. So I lean on to him. So I've had to find my own fathers within my own circles. Even some of my relatives, I've had to find fathers like that. But the thing is that for me, money, I think a lot of Christians actually think money is not good. Money is good because money gives you options. And when you have options, you can do a whole lot of things. Like it's like, when you've got money, if you want to build a church of 4,000 seater, you can do that. Or you want to go on holiday, you can do that. You want to take your school to a different school, you can do that. But if you don't have money, that's where the challenge is, because you don't have options. You have to do with what is there.
Yeah.
So for me, I chase money. But I chase money understanding that at the back of it, I need to have a foundation. And the foundation that I'm talking about is that property gives you a solid foundation. It's an asset class that can't move. So when I was doing cars, when I was doing chickens, I realized that the things that gives me money, they are mobile. So they can grow legs and then they can disappear. And so for that reason, I'm not secured. And with cars, my asset is depreciating. But with the properties, my assets are appreciating. So which means that I'm not just working in terms of buying. I am buying, but the asset itself is also working for me. So which means that there's two of us working now, right? So it's the father that I didn't have that's now working for me as well. It's the inheritance that I'm creating for myself, right? Now, having said that, I almost want to come back to the point of, so I started with 1,000 Rand. Yeah, that's what I did. But I was hungry. Hunger came first. And then the second thing is that, in the Bible, the three wise men, they're called the three wise men. But nowhere in the Bible does it actually stipulate why they were called the three wise men.
You're taking me to a scripture now I haven't read in a long time. No, I can't. Those were the three men that came and gave Jesus the frankincense, the myrrh, and the gold. They came from the east, right?
Yeah. So I mean, if you know Christian, there's a guy called Jesus Christ. He's an amazing guy. He's my father. Leroy is dead as well. And the thing there is that when he was born, he was already ordained to be a great teacher. And these three guys knew that. So when they knew that, like this is the kicker, bro. When you are wise, you are always looking for new information. Because new information, you know it, Leroy. New information makes you earn more money. New information gives you the edge. New information gives you a leapfrog.
Yeah.
And that's why they were called the three wise men, because they were always out looking for the new teacher, consuming. But here's the bad thing about it. A lot of people, Leroy, they come into, I mean, I'm sure you have seen some people. I came to your sessions twice, right? For some people, they would come 4 or 5 times, and you meet them at someone else's, and they're there as well, but they're becoming information junkies. I identified that earlier on in my journey, and I said to myself, I don't want to be an information junkie. I want to be able to go out there and learn something, but I want to apply it. Because even in my job that I had, I was a doer. I was a young executive, but I was a doer. So I was working for Barclays. So Barclays is UK and Africa, South Africa, and they would give us all the thinking, and we need to do. So I started figuring out. So okay, I went through into these sessions. What do I need to do? When I started seeing you talking about all of your great stuff that you had done, some good that you had done, I was like, how can I do that? And those are pertinent questions, because at many a times we sit there and we're like, wow, that guy is amazing. Wow, that guy is amazing. So you're cheerleading. Your words are very important. So you're cheerleading, right? But change those words now into, wow, how can I do it? You're provoking your own mind. The mind. There's a book that I want you to go and read. It's an amazing book. I only read it recently. It's called The Brain Idiot.
The Brain?
The Brain Idiot. And basically, this guy here, I enjoy stuff about the mind. The mind is an amazing place. And basically, what he's saying is that for whatever the mind is exposed to, because we are born as creatures that are supposed to survive, right? Our brains already, they do two things. The first thing that they do is to go into flight mode. How can I do this? And the other one is, how can I preserve myself? So how can I take myself out of danger? So when you are talking now, oh, Leroy is doing great, and then you're cheering on, you're preserving yourself. But when you're asking the questions, how does he do it? How can I do it? You're taking your mind into a place where it has never been before.
Yeah.
So for that reason, the parts in your brains, they start working. What you ask today, you don't get the answer today. You get the answer, a couple of months, days later, and you start seeing, it's that whole thinking of, Leroy, when you Candice comes through to the house with a pink car, and you're like, you're driving a pink car. What starts happening from there on?
You start seeing it everywhere.
You start seeing it everywhere, because your mind has gone to a place where it has never been, and now it starts seeing it. So I suppose basically what I'm saying is, when I say I really started with 1,000 Rand, the work had started in my head. The work had started a long time ago, and I was ready at the time. And when I started off now on my 1,000 Rand, basically what happened, Leroy, I took the learnings, right? Me and you, we share the same coach. I took the learnings and I started going to look for properties. My first good deal was deal number 63. So in between, I was looking, and my coach was like saying, nah.
So TJ, you looked at 63 properties before you hit one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know why that's cool? I always tell people when they get started, I say, hey guys, because people look at 2 and they put their heart on 1 and it doesn't come through. And I'm like, guys, if you want to get into this, you have to have a thick skin. You would have to be rejected so many times. You can be rejected 100, 200, 300, but it doesn't take many to get you on the right path. You can miss out 200, but hit 5, and that might be all you need.
So here's the thing, right? When I started off, I was looking in an area called Windsor, and because it was fairly close to me, and I thought, let me go and do it. So my wife paid for us to go into the class. So my wife, she had the money at that time. Actually, it was the bond money actually that she had at that time, and she paid for it. But here's the thing: month number 1, I like structures. How are we doing things? And so I started putting some structures together for me and her. And somewhere along the line, my wife became disgruntled. I think we were month number 3, number 4. And my wife even stopped coming through to the coaching sessions at that time. What was going through into her mind at that time, I didn't know, but I forged ahead. So sometimes the demon could be yourself, And sometimes it could be even someone whom you're sleeping with. Right. Because
luckily you isolated. Luckily you isolated now for that. The demon could be you or someone you sleep with. That can get you into trouble. Now, guys, remember I said in the beginning, teacher has some good advice that he's going to give you, but there's a few things that you put it on the shelf there as well.
Yeah, for sure. So here's the thing, right? Yes, we went into school together, but we didn't grasp the same knowledge and the same drive at the same time. I mean, if I tell you what I told you today, and if you know Genevieve as your coach, you'll be like, no, never. Right? But what happened? I continued, right? So maybe let's say from deal number 20, this is just hypothetically speaking now, deal number 30 to round about maybe about 55, I was a lonely soldier. I'm coming home, I'm like, I found this deal. And she's like, okay, cool. Let me know what happens. Right. While she was dealing with her own emotions at that time. Right. So those emotions could easily also take me down.
Yeah.
Now, and this is where I always say, you know, especially if you're married, it's very important to journey together. And journeying together doesn't mean that you're going to get it together at the same time. It doesn't mean that. It means that you have the ability, one of you, in this case, it's the male part, but in some cases, I've seen the female part catching it on than the male part. Right? So whoever who catches it on, let them lead at that time. There's deals that have gone bad. Leroy, I've come home and I'm like, Flip, I don't want to lead this thing. And my wife in the background has told me, dude, remember A, B, C, D, and she's fired me on.
Yeah, no, that's
true. And now
true.
she's leading in a different space.
So what you said in the beginning, don't get married. Now you basically saying they can. Because it helps, it's tough. I can also say sometimes these things we don't always tell you. I don't know. We don't always tell you all the stresses and the pressures and but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's challenging, and sometimes you need that encouragement to say, hey man, listen, you can do this. You're doing well. Just continue. Things are going to work out, even if it's just a little bit of encouragement from your partner now, and then it says, hey man, things are going to work out. Don't worry. You'll sort this out. You'll find a way.
That's it. So it comes from a point of, you know, when I say don't get married, I really mean it in a very soft manner. Don't get it too young. Don't get married too young. Right? Find yourself first, who you are, who you want to become. And I don't want to put a number onto it and say, when you're 30 or when you're 40, because some people never mature, actually, you know. So find who you are. When you find who you are and you deal with yourself, Leroy, I've got some serious demons that attacked me. When was it? The day before yesterday, I saw a movie called Three Strangers. I don't know if you've watched it. And it's on Netflix. You know, it's basically about these three Jewish boys that were raised. They were born and then they were taken out of their into different families, and they discovered themselves like 19 and 20. And this was an experiment that people were running, you know. And for me, being born in such kind of a circumstance, it hit me hard, right? But I have dealt with myself. I have dealt with me being abandoned. I'm okay with it. I have dealt with everything else that comes with that, and I've dealt with it. It's in a shelf. If it comes up, I know how to manage it. And I've also demonstrated that to my wife. So when these things come up, like I can get emotional at that time, and I'm like, Flip, for you, your dad is late. Mine is still alive. I know where he is. Can I just call him and give him a bit of cuck, you know? And my wife will be like, what for? You don't need that. Just bad vibes, you know? She's going to hold me. She's going to give me a little bit of love, and she knows how to manage me, and boom, we're out of it. Right. So getting married whilst you're knowing who you are is important. But again, this is what life does. You think you know yourself,
Yeah.
but you don't have a business that has 200 tenants. You don't have a business with 350 students. You
Yeah.
become a different person.
Yeah, that can change you, eh?
Right. So the foundation needs to be there. Then you get married to someone else, and then you start building together as you go along. So yeah.
So that's some good marriage advice there, guys. So for those of you, this is a bit of counseling for some of you coming here from Mr. M5 Property Addicts. Abigail, how are you? So TJ, tell us what that first property was. 1,000 rand first property. What type of property was it? And how did you finance it with 1,000 rand? So we can give some advice, some education as well.
Yeah. So I'm gonna nail it in around about 5 minutes or so. It's a deal. I speak about this deal all the time. And basically, I had a coach at the time. You know, Andrew was my coach, and I was looking for deals. Deal number 63 popped, and I did my numbers, and I sent to him, and he said, "This looks like a good deal." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." Um, and I only said I know because obviously I've been grinding.
It's 63
deals. Yeah. I kind of like have an understanding of what he's looking from me, right? And I think I found it now. It's a 2-bed, 1-bath in Kempton Park in a small street, not far away from town. I'm forgetting the street's name, but it's a 2-bed, 1-bath. And basically, I see the evaluation on that property, and the evaluation of all the 2 beds, 1 bath is sitting on around about 400, 450.
Yeah, I saw it was 2 bed, 1 bath.
Yeah, and then the first thing that came up was that I had negotiated this to around about 160,000. It was on the market for 390, right? So 160, I was like, okay, it's a good deal. And the estate agent, the estate agent forced me to have a deposit. I had no money at that time, like literally had no money. So I called Andrew and I said, Andrew, how can we scheme this one? And he says to me, you don't have any money. And I'm like, I don't have any money. And I think at that time, Andrew thought that I was joking. And I'm like, I don't have any money, like seriously, no money. And he says to me, okay, cool. Let's give it a day or two. Send me the offer to purchase on in terms of, how you have crafted it. At that time, I was also being hungry in terms of listening to so many people, how to do an offer to purchase and things like that. So I had a shell of stuff that I put in into the offer to purchase. So I put in like a 30 business day to look for funding. So I had a good, 2 months to look for money on this thing. And out of that, after about a week, Andrew just said, look for money from everywhere. So I started knocking doors from people in my workplace and everything else. And the estate agent is pressing to say you need to put in a deposit.
How much is the deposit you wanted?
So Andrew said to me, okay, how much are they saying that you need to put in a deposit? I said, no, they're not saying any amount. So Andrew says, so how much money can you come up with in the next 30 days? And I said, I've got about 1,000 rand that I can spare off from my salary. My salary is coming in 15 days. So he says, okay, fine. So put in 1,000 rand. So I put in 1,000 rand on the offer to purchase, and boom, it was accepted. Yeah. So with that now, so the deal goes through. Now it's binding. Now I need to find the 159.
Exciting, eh?
It is. No, not exciting. It's exciting now. Yeah. Then it's scary. And I looked around. No one, I couldn't find anyone. Why couldn't I find anyone, Leroy? It's because I had no system at the time. I was just randomly asking people. At the time, there was some form of a group of that was on Facebook. Andrew said to me, post on the group, put a flyer or something like that. I tried everything. No money was coming through. 3 weeks came in, right? I'm now having sleepless nights. And I'm thinking, but I've done everything that I can and the deal is come. And everyone in the property space always say that when the deal is good, the money will come. Now, where's the money coming from? So you're doubting yourself now, right? Eventually, so you're doubting yourself.
No. Say that again before that. If the deal is good enough,
the money will come.
Right? That's difficult to accept that in the beginning, eh? And it took me that as well. It took me years. I think you actually got that before me. That if the deal is good enough. Now, guys, I would actually write that down if I was you. That's a powerful tip they gave us. If the deal is good enough, the money will come. It always comes the last hour, but it comes. So write that down, and that's faith. That grows your faith. Because you're going into something without having the money for it.
Yeah, and you speak of faith, right? And it also comes back to what you believe in. So if you're a strong believer, and you've been praying about this and things like that, you start believing that it is coming. But again, you doubt yourself because you're just as good as anyone else, right? So anyways, 3 weeks into this thing, a weekend in, weekend out, I've stopped now looking for deals. Now I'm just looking for money.
Yeah.
And that's a bad position. When I met Rita, my business partner, she had more money. So she had more people that had money, right? But she had no deals. And I had more deals, but I had no people with money. So when we met, it was like magic. We started doing more stuff together, but then we focused a little bit more on the money, so the deals shrunk. Then we started focusing on the deals more, and what happened to the money? The money shrunk.
And now you guys are down to how many deals now? You've got the first one.
How many deals? I've stopped counting deals now. I'm just like counting the doors of tenants. Because that one, I can count tenants very well because Bevan, who's my property manager, is the one who keeps us honest there.
Yeah.
And the number of beds, because we know exactly on the inventory how many beds we have. So we round about 213 tenants in different buildings across. And by the time the first semester is kicking in now, we should be hitting around about 300-400 beds. I'm just closing a few deals out in Porch.
Nice one. That's powerful.
Yeah, but the Porch story now is an amazing story of the Nando's scenario.
But TJ, before you go, before the Porch now, so now you did the property for 150,000. You found the money. You closed the deal. Rental probably for between 4,000 and 5,000 rand in Kempton Park. Right. You get your tenants in. You're making a cash flow of, let's say, 1,000 rand. Not very exciting, eh? But it's your first deal. You probably.
Oh no, it's extremely exciting for me because that 1,000 rand was money that I didn't have, and by the way, in week number 3, Andrew introduced me to one of his students.
Yeah.
And this guy comes in, elderly guy in his 70s, engineer by profession, and he says, "Let's meet." First time I meet him up at a Wimpy, and he's not even talking about the deal. We're just talking general stuff. And I'm eager. I want to show him stuff. I'm like, "Here's the deal." And he says he's running out of time. He has to go. And I'm like, "What kind of a person is this?" He comes here. We want to talk about the deal, and he's just asking about stupid stuff. Like we don't even talk about the deal. But what's wrong with this guy? And I call Andrew. I'm like, "Andrew, I don't think this guy has money.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand him. We never even spoke about it." So surprise, surprise, he gives me a call and then he sets up a second appointment, but this time at the property, right? But this is like 4 days apart. So I am thinking I've got a bite, but the bite is gone in my mind. And basically what this guy was doing was sussing me out. He was trying to see whether can I work with this guy.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. He was after the relationship. I was after the transaction. That's a dangerous position to be in property, because when you meet a transactional person and you're after the relationship, even if that person has millions, that the relationship is not going to work because they're not after the relationship. It's the transaction that they are after. So they're going to do everything at whatever that they want to do to save the deal or to be in the deal. So they don't care about the relationship.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm relationship based. I am looking for people that I can jump into a relationship with. We can build, like all my partners, my investors, I know them by name. I know who they are. I know who they're married to. I know if they got kids, I know who their kids are, right? We're building something greater than just buying properties. Properties is just a vehicle of what we're trying to build.